Reclassifying is one thing a few high school athletes take advantage of every single year. And Sonny Styles is excited and glad he took the advantage to reclassify and arrive at Ohio State a year earlier than expected.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Buckeye fans? Welcome back to another episode of Locked On Buckeyes for the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast. It is Wednesday, January 25th in the year 2023. And this episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/locked on to get started today. During this episode, we will discuss what role Sonny Styles might play on the Buckeyes defense in 2023 and what happens when Bryce Sensabaugh does not go off in a Big Ten matchup. But before we get to any of that, Sonny Styles, prior to the beginning of last season, during the recruiting process, I was a person that said, Sonny Styles, stay in school. Stay in school. I always say it. I'm not really the biggest fan, and I'll never really encourage someone to reclassify to leave high school a year early to go play college football or just go be on a college team. That's not me. That's not who I am. And there are reasons that we could talk about off air as far as why I don't think that is something I would advise somebody to do. Contrary to what my advice would be, Sonny Styles did reclassify. 17 years old, sitting at 6'4", 220 pounds. He reclassified, left high school, joined Ohio State a year early, wasn't expected to play a lot, wasn't expected to start, wasn't expected to be a big piece of the defense, but getting to school a year early allowed Sonny Styles to get an earlier look and an earlier chance in his life to become a Buckeye and to get better as a football player. And he's happy about it, y'all. He's happy. He's excited. And he's glad that he got the opportunity and he took advantage of this rule that allows him to reclassify to be a college football player a year earlier than expected. You might be somebody when you look at Sonny Styles, 6'4", was it 220 in high school, and I'm sitting here looking at him when I saw him play the football. I said, oh, he ain't normal. Just by the way he looked out there on the football field, that cat ain't normal. And that's Sonny Styles for you. 6'4", 220 in high school. He plays the basketball. He played the football in high school. I think he went to Pickerington Central. He just literally walked off the bus. And he said, oh, that cat ain't normal. But then when you got to see him play the football, you got to see him play the basketball, he said, oh, he really not normal. He don't just look like he's not normal. He's an athlete. He's a gamer. He's a big-time player, and that's what he was on the football field. College is different, man. You don't have all your friends. You're not there with your parents. Our granddad's parents are close and local and in the area, but you don't have your parents with you every single day. You don't have all of those things. Sonny Styles says, hey, he took advantage of reclassifying. And by his words that he spoke to 11 Warriors, he said, and made it seem so well and confident, he is happy that he came to Ohio State a year early. Here's his words, direct words from Sonny Styles, and discussing him leaving high school and coming to Ohio State early. Quote, I've been telling people all the time, I'm glad I came early. I think it helped me for this year, and it's going to help me for next year as well, end quote. That quote and that statement came prior to the Peach Bowl. He goes on to discuss the experience he gained in 2022 and why it may help him play a bigger role in 2023. Quote, I think that's really going to help me because I think a lot of times as a freshman, it's a confidence thing and getting comfortable. And I feel like my confidence has grown over the year and I've gotten really comfortable. I don't feel like I shouldn't be here. I feel like I belong, end quote. That's a big statement from a young man who while saying this, he's supposed to be a senior in high school. I don't feel like, let me go back and say that again because that's just too good. I don't feel like I shouldn't be here. I feel like I belong. Sonny Styles this year, I do believe he had the second most, let me get this correct, the second most snaps on special teams for the Buckeyes at 229. He also played 67 snaps on defense. You noticed him play in the very last game of the year in the Peach Bowl against Georgia. Instead of bringing in Cody Simon to combat Georgia's occasional 12 personnel, 2 tight end set with Darnell Washington is a backup. Brock Bowers is the other. I forgot both of their names. But Sonny Styles came in those moments, and you're thinking Cody Simon's a guy. Well, Sonny Styles' skill set might be a little bit more interesting. It might be something that Ohio State might want, especially against teams that have heavier offensive sets, personnel groupings, 2 tight ends, maybe 22 personnel, 2 backs, 2 tight ends. In those situations, you might see Sonny Styles, even in 2023, play a bigger role in those games against Wisconsin and teams like that. But for him to say, I don't feel like I shouldn't be here, I feel like I belong, and you're gaining confidence right now. He played multiple games this year on defense, 67 snaps on defense. On the year, his stats, 9 tackles, 1 tackle for loss. That's not bad for a 17-year-old young man. Like, I marveled at Braylon Allen at Wisconsin, the starting running back, and what he did during his freshman year when he was 17 years old. I marvel even more at what Sonny Styles is doing currently at Ohio State. Yeah, it was not something that he did in a starting role or a prominent role, but he was level-headed. He was someone you could rely on. He kept working. He kept grinding. And Perry Eliano, he witnesses every single day what Sonny Styles does on the football field. And ultimately, I do believe that Sonny Styles, if he keeps progressing like we think he will, if he keeps grinding like he has been, if he keeps working at his craft to not just be possibly a safety, not just maybe a linebacker with situational and different game situations, but what if he just mixes the two and becomes a hybrid linebacker for the Ohio State Buckeyes, kind of a linebacker safety hybrid? That might be a great way for Sonny Styles to, 1, get on the football field, but for 2, over the next few years, raise his draft stock as well. It's in draft season. He ain't going out right now, even if he could. But we're always looking forward about how a player can raise their draft stock. Before getting to the draft stock and him being able to go to the NFL draft and be a high pick, there's 2023. It's going to come way before Sonny Styles is draft eligible. What roles could Sonny Styles play in 2023 that will fit what Ohio State needs on defense for the defense to be successful? We will discuss that next right here on Locked On Buckeyes. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. The NFL playoffs are here. We're really excited about our new sports betting partner for Locked On because they're the number 1 sportsbook in America, FanDuel. And if you're new to FanDuel, that's even better. They have so many great features that make betting on sports fun and easy. New customers join today to get started with $150 in free bets. Guaranteed. When you place your first $5 bet, just sign up at FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel has all your favorite bets from the money line to point spreads to player props. Plus, you can even combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with a single game parlay. All on an app that's safe, secure, and is super easy to use. So, football fans, don't miss out. Place your $5 bet to get $150 in free bets, win or lose, at FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Thanks for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen of the day. Make sure you check out our brand new podcast, Locked On College Basketball. It provides everything you need to know about college basketball in one place. Plus, hear from big name experts, insiders, coaches, and players. Locked On College Basketball is available on YouTube and wherever you get your fine podcast. So 2023 for the defense is going to be a very interesting time. You're going to have Tui Malowau back, who's the other defensive end? Is it Jack Sawyer or somebody else on the opposite side? You're going to have guys like Caden Curry coming up and Keanu Jackson trying to get on the field in the middle. Is it going to be Mike Hall Jr. and Tyleek Williams? We keep seeing, was it hashtag free 91 or hashtag free Tyleek or whatever Tyleek Williams is tweeting? He wants to play. I'm not going to discredit what his tweets are. That young man wants to play. So who is it going to be? You also have at linebacker, you're returning both of your starters in Steel Chambers and Tommy Eichenberg. What else are you doing? You're losing two safeties, Ronnie Hickman, Tanner McAllister. Lathan Ransom still there. Josh Proctor's there. I think Proctor's a free. I think Ransom is a strong safety, which is what he played last year. But then you got Jahad Carter transferred from Syracuse, who's going to be probably your nickel corner. I do think right now you could just figure out who's better at free, who's better at strong, who's better at one defensive end spot, who's better at D tackle. The questions on Ohio State's defense there aren't that as many as you might think as far as who might play. We know who the players are going to be. Just got to figure out putting them in the right places. In comes Sonny Styles into this conversation. Because as we just mentioned, he had the second most special team snaps in 2022, 67 snaps on defense in 2022. He played in the last game of the year, the biggest game of the season, because of the do-or-die game. I still will say the game against Michigan always is weighted and holds more, needs more to Buckeye football players and coaches and fans. But that last game was do-or-die, baby. If Ohio State won that game, their season would not have been over. They would have gone on to play the national championship. And I will tell you, I think they would have beaten TCU. I don't know if they would have beat them as bad as Georgia did, but I still think the Buckeyes would have beat TCU. Sonny Styles, to me, he can play. I do think in a 4-3 set, as I have always been saying, there are certain games, certain places you need to run three linebackers a lot more than what the Buckeyes do. You can't rely on your base defense, your base 4-2-5, and you can't just rely on those things to allow your team to stop the defense. No, you need to have variation. I mean, good defenses, Ohio State can run a 3-3-5 and keep their base unit out there. Ohio State can run a 4-2-5 and shuffle around and move the safeties around. Ohio State can run a 4-3, take a safety off, or really it's a corner. They want to say safety, just safety-driven defense. That boy's really a nickel corner. Like Tanner McAllister, he's a nickel corner, y'all. He is a nickel corner or a cover safety. Whatever you want to call it, cover safety is not the traditional word. Nickel corner, man, that's really what he is, and not the best at it either. Jahad Carter comes in from Syracuse. Yeah, he's probably going to be that nickel corner / cover safety word that Ohio State, or phrase that Ohio State used for that position. Could that be a Sonny Styles thing in a heavier set? Say you want to have a 4-2-5 tradition, but you want to bring in Sonny Styles to get a little bit more beef and versatility out there, a little height as well. Instead of bringing in a third linebacker, bring in Sonny Styles, who could be more versatile than a Cody Simon is when Simon comes on the field. Also, who's to say Cody Simon's still on the Buckeyes roster at the end of spring practice? Remember, there's another 45-day window for the transfer portal when players need to announce that they're entering the portal. Let the team know in the 45 days, hey, I'm going to be out, and you're gone. Now, there will be some players prior to the portal opening that are saying, I'm not going to be on this team anymore. I'm going to try it and play elsewhere. We saw last year, Legend Cavazos being one player. There was the D tackle as well at Ohio State. I forget the young man's name, but they both transferred to North Carolina. I believe that was in the spring. So think about all the things going on in the springtime, at least. You got to figure out the defense and work on things and teach things. You got the transfer portal. Maybe recruiting never stops. Ryan Day is he going to bring in a linebackers coach? Or what is Ryan Day going to do? We got to wait and see what's going to happen with this team. Because losing Kevin Wilson, you bring in Coach Key. So traditionally, you have all the pieces to the pie. Maybe, just maybe, they try to find a way to bring in somebody else and hope the NCAA allows for them to have one more coach on the coaching staff. Could it be James Laurinaitis? I mean, You would love to have a former Buckeye linebacker, former Buckeye All-American linebacker on the coaching staff at Ohio State. I know you would. Buckeye fans love their former Buckeye football players. It's just in our blood. So my guess for Sonny Styles in 2023 on defense specifically, I still think he's going to be a special teams player, a pivotal piece of the pie for the special teams unit. I still think safety is the move. Now, I think more strong safety than free safety for Styles. A little bit more closer to the line of scrimmage, maybe lining up in the box. I don't know how he's going to be in that free safety role. I think he is more of a physical specimen that is better inside and closer to the plays. So maybe Ransom and him, like big game at some point, or things kind of get out of hand early and you want to save Ransom's reps. Maybe you might see Sonny Styles to be the backup to Ransom. Maybe you might see Sonny Styles be that third linebacker in certain games. Maybe you might see Sonny Styles replacing Jahad Carter during certain moments. I think there are numerous ways and areas the Buckeyes can utilize Sonny Styles' skill set so the team can be the best team it can be. And they need to make sure they do that, because I think he's gained confidence. In the article that I read from 11 Warriors, his position coach heaps praise on him. Perry Eliano does. So they trust him. There's a lot of trust in a young man that you normally don't get for someone who is that age in year 2 at a school playing college football. It's just not normal. Sonny Styles, backup role, numerous areas. I think he could play against Indiana in the first, second quarter. I do expect him to play the following week. I don't have the schedule memorized yet for 2023. I do know the third game in September is the game against Notre Dame. That's on the road. I do think Sonny Styles could play in that game as well. I would not be shocked if he plays in all 13 games, not just on special teams, but all 13 games on defense in some capacity, because every team brings something different offensively. And the Buckeyes, I think, can. I'm not really a pusher of second-year players, but in a backup, second-year players being a starter, but in a backup role, I think this is an ideal time for Sonny Styles, as well as C.J. Hicks, to get some run. We didn't forget about C.J. Hicks. We did not. And I don't think Jim Knowles has either. I think Knowles, Day, everybody else on that coaching staff realizes there are times that you could get both of these guys on the field. Maybe not at the same time, but you can get both of these guys on the field to allow them to get more reps and more comfortable playing the football in college. Bryce Sensabaugh is comfortable playing the basketball in college, but if he's not on, man, the Buckeyes struggle. We'll discuss what happened last night as the Buckeyes fell to the Illinois Fighting Illini. We'll discuss all that next right here on Locked on Buckeyes. This episode is brought to you by Billiards Plus. Billiards Plus has the best selection of pool tables, game tables, shuffleboard tables, and more, and the best service in Central Ohio. Billiards Plus also can set you up with a brand new top-of-the-line grill that will last for generations. We all know how hard it is with the supply chain issues this year and getting certain things shipped on time. So when it comes to ordering that one big gift for someone you love, check out Billiards Plus and get there early this year. Pick something out that is perfect for not just one member of your family, but for the entire family to enjoy year-round. Billiards Plus carries the best pool tables from Brunswick, Alhassan, Canada, Billiards, and more. Plus, top-of-the-line grills from PK, Napoleon, Memphis, and Le Griddle. That will be the last grill you own. Seriously, these grills stand the test of time. No matter the season, Billiards Plus has you covered for all your indoor and outdoor entertainment needs. Visit their showroom on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin. Check them out at billiards-plus.com. Billiards Plus, family owned and operated for generations. Sports betting is now legal in the state of Ohio. And Locked On has the perfect show to help new in-season gamblers. Download and subscribe to Locked On Bets for daily picks and analysis wherever you get your fine podcasts. The Buckeyes lost another basketball game. He beat Iowa. Iowa was on a 4-game winning streak when they came to the shot on Saturday. I believe the game was on Saturday. And then you go on the road to Champaign, Illinois. And what happened? Illinois, good basketball team. Not one of the best teams in the country. A good basketball team. Was up by 17 points at one point in this game. And I said, oh no, here we go again. It just wasn't the Buckeyes night. I looked up, the score getting wider, the margin getting wider and wider in favor of Illinois. It wasn't something where the Buckeyes got contributions from a lot of players like they have been, or maybe they shot great. The Buckeyes shot 36% in this game. They shot 40% from downtown. And if you shoot 60% from the free throw line, only making 12 of your 20 free throws, buddy, that ain't a recipe to win no game. Don't matter if it's Illinois, Minnesota, Nebraska. Don't matter if you got the worst team in the country coming to the shot. That's not a recipe to beat nobody. 36% from the field, 60% from the free throw line. You got to fix that quick, fast, and in a hurry. Oh, what else is bad? We talk about this team having issues in the hustle department. Also, that's a little bit of the heart department. They were almost minus 20 in total rebounds in this game. Illinois had 42. Ohio State had 24. That's hustle, man. Like, ain't nothing Chris Holtmann can do to get y'all to just try harder. Like, you have to want it in yourself to go get that ball. No matter if you're on offense or defense, you have to have it in yourself to go get the ball and rebound it, squeeze that orange, and get it to somebody else to take care and run the ball, run the offense, or you put it back up 2 points, come back to the other end of the court. That's something on you. And I don't care what you want to say about Chris Holtmann. I have my own issues with Chris Holtmann and how this team is constructed and how the team is playing this year. This ain't no Chris Holtmann, y'all. Ohio State, the basketball players, got to dig deep. Because it ain't no way you should go into a game and get beat that bad in that department. That's on you. There weren't many turnovers in this game by the Buckeyes, so you can't say they really played the sloppiest brand of basketball, even watching it. Yeah, it wasn't as bad as what I have seen in other moments of them playing the basketball. This was not their worst performance of the season. But remember when I mentioned Bryce Sensabaugh, the 4-time Big Ten Freshman of the Week, a guy who's probably going to be a lottery pick whenever he decides to go into the NBA draft. Almost said NFL is that year. He had 14 points last night, 4 rebounds. Your second leading scorer is Justice Suing with 13 points off the bench. Now, granted, Zedke is still nursing a sprained shoulder and had a knee injury that he suffered at the end of the Iowa game on a dunk in the final maybe 30 seconds of the game. Early in the year when Zedke was healthy, he was a force. And he was the second player that the Buckeyes relied on. You run the offense through Zedke. Bryce Sensabaugh is going to do his thing. He'll create his own offense. A third scorer, Justice Suing, Sean McNeil, maybe Ice Likely. But it wasn't maybe Ice or Sean McNeil to be the second leading scorer. No. It's Bryce, it's Zed, and somebody else just step up. But with Zedke hurt, and really on a lot of his shots in the paint that he normally just dunks or makes with ease with a jump hook or laying the ball in, Zedke is not getting the lift he used to get, which makes you wonder what else is going on with him, because it has not just been the shoulder sprain or that's held him back or what happened. And it wasn't just a knee issue that he had at the end of the Iowa game. That boy ain't got the lift that he used to have. And I think that's hurting Ohio State at this point in time. Because if that was running the ball through the ball through Zedke, Bruce Thornton, no. Sean McNeil, no. Ice Likely, not going to be consistent off the bench. I'm not expecting Roddy Gale Jr., Felix Acapara, Eugene Brown III, or Tanner Holden to walk in and be 12 to 15, to get 12 to 15 points once every 4 or 5 games. I'm not expecting that from those guys. So here's where we're at. It's Bryce Sensabaugh. And if Zedke ain't the guy, this team has problems. You're going on the road this weekend on Sunday. It's a Sunday evening game, 8 p.m. Eastern on the Big Fox. You're going on the road to Assembly Hall, an Indiana team that is feeling a little confident right now. Bryce is going to have to bring it because those Hoosier fans are going to be loud, wild, and crazy. Going to have that liquid courage as they're going to be prepping for that game all day long. Bryce has to bring it, but Justice Suey needs to be a leader. But maybe he's not the leader the team needs, and Zedke might not be the leader the team needs either. I thought going into the season was Ice likely. I don't know, and maybe the lack of leadership in this on this team is why, if Bryce is not the guy, there's nobody sitting there saying, "Hey, man, we need you to dig deep. We need you to do this. We need you to do that." I don't know, man. I have no idea. What I do know is this: if Bryce Sensabaugh ain't cooking, this team's going to struggle to win games. We're out of here on a Wednesday, a hump day edition of Locked On Buckeyes. You can follow me on Twitter at jstevens07. You can also send all of your emails to jstevens317 at gmail.com. Thanks for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen today. For your second listen, check out our brand new podcast, Locked On College Basketball. Experts Isaac Shade and Andy Patton bring you everything you need to know on and off the court. Plus, hear from big name experts, coaches, and players throughout the basketball landscape. Locked On College Basketball is available on YouTube and wherever you get your fine podcasts.